news organizations might go through and part of an answer might disappear, and they say it's because of time context, but usually in the case of a Republican or President Trump, it's to try to jam them up or to make them look bad. What I've never seen in the many years I've been doing this is for a news organization to go in and actually cut up the answers and put it together to make the candidate look better. This is unprecedented. I've never seen this before. CBS, first of all, they should be apologizing to President Trump. There should be some scalps. There should be some people who get fired on this thing, and they should have a real top to bottom review of their entire news operation.
Conservatives, just like Trump advisor Jason Miller, are absolutely furious after it was revealed that CBS edited Kamala Harris's 60 Minutes interview in a way that I will agree seems pretty deceptive. So we're gonna give you the comparisons in just a moment, but honestly, no one is more furious about this than Trump himself, who went on a bit of a social media bender after this story developed. We're gonna get to his statements in just a moment, but let's start off by explaining how the interview was edited. So at first, 60 Minutes put out a teaser of one portion of the interview, and it was prior to the full interview airing. And you'll see the following exchange between Harris and journalist Bill Whitaker. So this is the unedited teaser version, okay? Whitaker asks, does the US have no sway over Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu? And Harris responds, the aid that we have given Israel allowed Israel to defend itself against 200 ballistic missiles that were just meant to attack the Israelis and the people of Israel. And when we think about that, when we think about the threat that Hamas, Hezbollah presents, Iran, I think that it is without any question our imperative to do what we can to allow Israel to defend itself against those kinds of attacks. That was the teaser version. Then the interview airs, and that question and answer portion was very different, okay? By the way, let me give you the rest of what Kamala Harris said in the teaser version. She also said, now the work we do diplomatically with the leadership of Israel is an ongoing pursuit around making clear our principles, which include the need for humanitarian aid, the need for this war to end, and the need for a deal to be done which would release the hostages and create a ceasefire. And we're not going to stop in terms of putting that pressure on Israel and in the region, including Arab leaders. So that, again, was the teaser version. Now let's look at the question and answer portion in the full interview that was published, okay? So Whitaker asks, but it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening. Harris says, well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region. So in the official full episode, this is how the exchange went down. Whitaker asks, does the US have no sway over Prime Minister Netanyahu? Harris says, the work that we do diplomatically within the leadership of Israel is an ongoing pursuit around making clear our principles. Then Whitaker asks, but it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening. Harris says, we are not gonna stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end. That was the version that actually aired. So the teaser version, very different from the version that actually aired.
So I don't think they should have done this edit because they are taking out two really important parts of it. One part is where she kisses Israel's ass.
Exactly.
And so that might hurt her in Michigan, et cetera, but it is super relevant. On the other hand, she keeps doing it because she thinks apparently that it's gonna help her. She thinks that, I don't know if the people at her campaign realize, AIPAC has a lot of money, but it has about 17 voters. Like, you're not gaining any voters by going around going, I will do whatever war crime Israel wants. It's not gonna win you Michigan, it's not gonna win you overall. So should CBS have kept that in the answer? Definitely. The other problem she has is word salad. So the length of her answers and how she rambles on is actually relevant in this election. So they should have kept it in the interview. But were they doing it to quote unquote hide it? Well, if they were trying to hide it, why did they put the original up online? And that was before anyone complained. That's in fact the reason why people noticed, oh, that's different than what aired on the show. And by the way, which one got a bigger audience? The full answer that they put online or the interview on TV? I bet the full answer they put online got a lot more views, right? So if you were trying to hide it, you wouldn't go, oh, by the way, here it is, preemptively.
Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility. It's also a possibility that the marketing department didn't communicate with the producers who edited the full version.
Yeah, but again, guys, all of these things are edited for time. And so what
that is true.
What they're trying to do is get to the essence of the answer as quickly as they can so they could ask the next question. Next question is squeeze it into 60 minutes. Right? Now, having said that, I think, again, they made a mistake here because I think the parts that they took out were too relevant to take out.
Yeah, it changes her answer essentially.
Yeah.
Right, and if it changes her answer, that is a problem. So I get editing, and look, we find ourselves in that position time to time because we have time limits and we have to go to break and all of that nonsense. And so as a result, when you're editing video, you can't have a lengthy 2-minute long video. You have to be selective in what you're willing to take out, but you can't change the overall fundamentals of what the message is in that video.
Can I just say one quick thing? There's only one video that I've ever edited for content, okay? Not for brevity, not for any kind of technical reason, but for actual content. That was when Dave Rubin after a debate about Israel, when he used to be here, asked me, can you please take out my last answer? Because another person here, Steve, had asked him if there's a school full of children, but Hamas is in there, would you bomb them and kill them all? And he said, if I remember right, he said yes.
Yeah, he said yes. He defended the notion of doing that. And then I guess to some extent realized how atrocious it is to defend that and asked you to edit it out. And then he went on Rogan's show and alleged that we edit out all sorts of things when we don't. We put up full interviews with no edits at all. The only time anything got edited was when he made that statement and asked you to take it out.
See, no good deed goes unpunished. The one time I do an edit is for him, and then he goes and says, oh, they edit stuff all the time, blah, blah, blah. You're such a despicable person. Anyways, back to Kamala Harris. So guys, okay, you're mad at Kamala Harris and Donald Trump is fuming, but wait, Donald Trump has the same exact answer. So what's the big deal? Donald Trump says we should give infinite money to Israel and we should let them do infinite wars and we should back even more wars against all Arabs and Muslims, and whatever Israel wants, I'm gonna give them. So wow, what a big disagreement you guys have. And then of course he goes on a rampage, and I have a lot of thoughts. Look, guys, what Trump loves to do, although Kamala Harris is not taking advantage of it enough, is he loves to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. Because if he just let this story be, it's a victory for him. It looks like it's biased or whatever, and very easy to get his viewers and even independents to think, oh, maybe they're cheating on behalf of Kamala Harris, even though I don't think that's what's happening, right? But he can't leave well enough alone, so he does this.
Yeah, so look, right before we get to his statements, Kamala Harris's camp came out and said, we do not control CBS's production decisions and refer questions to CBS. I want to believe that. And the reason why I say it is because that there's usually pressure behind the scenes when it comes to political campaigns. So I wouldn't be surprised if there might have been pressure, but it is true that, usually the media outlet gets to decide how they do the editing. And by the way, this isn't a good look for CBS, as even Fox News acknowledges that it's common for networks to edit answers in news packages for time. So that's going back to what you were saying, Cenk, and I agree with you on that. That does happen. But now let's get to Trump, because he was very upset. I'm not gonna read the entirety of this, but you'll get a sense of how upset he was. Here's one post where he says, I've never seen this before, but the producers of 60 Minutes sliced and diced, cut and pasted, lying Kamala's answers to questions, which were virtually incoherent over and over again, some by as many as 4 times in a single sentence or thought, all in an effort possibly illegal as part of the news division. It's kind of funny how he's talking about word salads while he's kind of engaging in a little bit of a news salad.
No, not kind of. That's a giant word salad. Keep going.
It's kind of hard to keep up with it. Okay, news division, which must be licensed to make her look more presidential or at least better. It may also be a major campaign finance violation.
No, it's not remotely true. You made it up.
This is a stain on the reputation of 60 Minutes that is not recoverable. It will always remain with this once storied brand. I have never heard of such a thing being done in news. It is the very definition of fake news. The public is owed a major and immediate apology. This is an open and shut case and must be investigated starting today. And then there's more. Here's another post, a giant fake news scam by CBS and 60 Minutes. He goes on, and then eventually he calls for CBS to be investigated for this.
Okay, so Mr. I believe in freedom of speech, and that's our number one issue, freedom, freedom, freedom. Oh, CBS had an interview with my political opponent, and I didn't like how they edited the video. Arrest them! What? I'll just be a dictator on day one. No, I don't know why you guys get all upset. They should be investigated for other things, and I'll make sure that they, look, you had to win. You had to win, and you had to turn it into a loss by being your usual dictator wannabe self.
That's actually a really good point, right? Because I happen to agree with the Trump team on the fact that the way it was edited is unacceptable. It does change the messaging in her answer. But you're right, he always goes way too far because he can't help himself.
Because that's what his natural urge is. Look, guys, I know MAGA guys don't believe it. Independents barely hear it. But there's a reason why the overwhelming majority of his own staff are not voting for him. And from his first term, like 40 different senior Trump officials have come out and go, oh, I'm not voting for that guy. That guy's a loose cannon, totally nuts, right? Because he's nuts. If you told him, hey, should we arrest everyone at CBS because you think they hurt your election through editing even though the actual clip is online, they put it up online. His natural instinct is, of course, they hurt Donald. If they hurt me, they hurt America. I am America, arrest them. I mean, he had a 3-hour discussion about martial law. He said, terminate the Constitution. He asked whether the military can shoot protesters in the leg. When the peace protesters now, he's saying they should be arrested and deported, even if they're Americans. Deported to where? Okay, so he's an unhinged madman. Oh, CBS edited something and made it a little shorter, which Fox News, it goes, well, we also edit. Because if you look at Fox News, you'll find actual tons of editing to help Republicans, because Republicans suck. And so they have to paint them as like, oh, sure, they are populist for the average American. We took that corporate tax cut answer and pretended it was on your behalf. Nonsense. Fox News rigged the entire 2000 election. That's a whole giant long story.
Yeah.
But he's full, look, even in a thing that he has some point on, he makes it so unbearable that no rational person can wind up supporting him.
You know, okay, I'm gonna say one other thing, and you and I agreed on this, and I remember covering it with you. It was how the media intentionally, like when it comes to Trump's statements, how they do edit video, but they edit video in a way that intentionally takes him out of context to make it seem like he's saying something that's way worse than what he's really saying. So the bloodbath statement, right? In a rally, and this is the thing, I don't trust the media either. So if they're going after him for something he said during a rally, I will literally find the full video of his rally to see what he actually said in context. And what they did is they made it seem like he said, if he loses the election, there will be a bloodbath in this country. But what he really said in context was that there would be an economic bloodbath. He was talking about the economy if the Democrats get elected instead. And so the rage that he's feeling is probably not just about the 60 Minutes interview. It's about his perception of the media editing him out of context to make him look bad, and then editing Kamala to make her look good.
Yeah, look, first of all, we said that immediately.
Yeah.
Day one, we said that story is nonsense. He's talking about economics. So, and because I don't know if we're the only ones. I hope we're not the only ones, but we actually care about what's true. So when Kamala Harris was doing great when she first came out, we told you she's doing great, right? And we were right, she's shot up in the polls. Now she's doing poorly, and we tell you she's doing poorly, and boom, she's dropping in the polls. Because it matters if you're honest, right? So in the case of Donald Trump, is the media rigged against him? Well, the media hates him, sometimes for justifiable reasons. He talks about arresting everybody at Google, Facebook, CBS, every Washington Post, anyone who he doesn't like, has said anything critical about him, he's like, arrest them, like a goddamn dictator. So I can understand, but still, it's incumbent upon you to be honest and to be truthful. And the media has been terrible at it for so long, not because they have a grudge against Republicans. They're corporate media. They protect corporate Republicans and corporate Democrats more than anyone else, okay? Now, guys, having said that, two things can be true at the same time. Corporate media can be terrible and Donald Trump can be a madman. They're both true. They're both true. But I can't get it into people's heads because they think so binary.
Yeah.
If the establishment is bad, that must mean Donald Trump is a saint. No, the establishment is terrible and Donald Trump is a deranged madman. Both things are true. If you enjoyed this video, that's because of our members. They make us independent, they make us strong, and they make us honest. Become a member today by hitting the join button below.